Kenya is considered top of the class in Africa regarding economic development. Nevertheless, the country still struggles with food security and a lack of nutrients in the diet of the population. To alleviate these problems, the potential of African indigenous vegetables has been researched since a few years. The research consortium Hortinlea pursues this goal since 2013. It is a cooperative project between German, Kenyan and Tanzanian institutions of research and politics. Hortinlea covers a wide range of academic disciplines and strives to give a scientific foundation to the use of AIVs for combating food insecurity and hidden hunger. After 5 years, the project comes to an end in 2018. In this film, we documented the last annual meeting of Hortinlea. We will assess the impact of this scientific project with regards to its interdisciplinary research and its methods. And we will see how application-oriented science, paired with stakeholder dialogues and knowledge sharing, can kick off a process that makes a real-life difference for the concerned actors. Hortinlea's concluding annual meeting took place on campus of the Jomo Kenyatta University for Agriculture and Technology in March, shortly after the rain season had begun in Kenya.
From the beginning of today on, each author group will present their chapter.
During the first days of the meeting, the spotlight shifted to a book in the making. Under the working title, Crafting Knowledge for Sustainable Food Systems, Diversifying Food Systems, the results of Hortinlea will be comprehensively published.
This meeting has been the crown jewel of Hortinlea's meetings because we had the task of integrating all the results. So from the beginning on, it was planned that all the disciplinary contributions will come together, will be merged into one final contribution and then evaluated. And that has been quite successful. So we can say that this is a very good start. Of course, it will continue for the next 1 year, perhaps, to conclude this book, as it is a very extensive book. But we are very optimistic and very hopeful that it will actually have an impact.
Across the 5 years the project existed, up to 40 PhD students and seasoned researchers collected results regarding all aspects of African indigenous vegetables. 14 sub-projects cover a wide range of scientific disciplines and methods, including social sciences, economics, and natural sciences.
Most very multi-dimensional problems actually cannot be solved without having a really interdisciplinary approach. It has been shown in the previous decades that hunger, poverty and all these multi-dimensional problems have not been solved. That is the evidence that we should try and focus more on interdisciplinarity.
One example for this is the work of Dr. Sindhu Kebede from Humboldt University Berlin, who coordinates Sub-Project 9. That tackles poverty and its coping strategies.
I worked on the topic of improving livelihoods and socioeconomic conditions of AIV value chain actors in Kenya. And for this, my research specific focus is on poverty, food insecurity and vulnerability of households because of shocks and coping strategies.
This means the improvement of livelihoods of AIV value chain actors is analyzed with regards to the interlinked aspects of poverty, market shocks and food insecurity, which in itself are viewed from different scientific perspectives and studied with various research methods. These and many other complex interrelations will be found in the book, but the purpose of it goes beyond producing a scientific publication.
As much as you find very good technologies, if you don't package them well to the outside world, they will not find the beauty of it.
We would like to link our scientific results in such a way that it's possible to use it really as a background or base for some rational decision making.
The knowledge from Hortinlea is supposed to guide public administrators to converge policies closer toward the Sustainable Development Goals. The interdisciplinary approach in Hortinlea mirrors the train of thought in these goals.
That has been the novum of the SDGs, that the topic of nutrition and food security has been turned into a very multi-dimensional one, not a caloric hunger basically, but a very multi-dimensional one that takes into account livelihoods, even culture and psychology.
In order to make lives better for the population, politics are required to make informed decisions. For this reason, Policymakers and entrepreneurs were invited to the meeting to find inspiration for solving very concrete problems.
The seed system is still weak. That requires some policy intervention. Organizing farmers to be able to take advantage of the enterprise is also a little bit still weak. More importantly, it came out very prominently that marketing of these vegetables is still a challenge to farmers because of limited infrastructure, and beyond the infrastructure, we also have discriminative kind of policies against farmers as they try to penetrate into lucrative markets.
In order to continue working on these shortcomings, for the dissemination strategy of Hortinlea, it was of particular importance to involve all relevant stakeholder groups. Public administrators and entrepreneurs, representatives of development organizations and the media were all present.
The large number of high-level policymakers was a real demonstration on how important these vegetables are being considered in our economy.
The growing importance of AIVs also holds true to the most important stakeholders of the project, the farmers, without whom the beginning of this complex research wouldn't have been possible.
The farmers gave us a lot of information, and they shared their knowledge, what we normally call indigenous knowledge, their experiences.
The traditional knowledge of the farmers gave the foundation to AIV research and helped to forge a path toward the normative goals, like food and nutrition security or the increase of household income. On the last day of this annual meeting, the farmers' workshop was held for those who had been in touch with the researchers over the last years.
As collaborators, we have worked with them very well. They have given us good knowledge, and we are the happiest.
When I compare these LVs and the other plants like maize, I see these are very profitable.
I think the capability has been put in us. Then we have the efforts to do it more and more.
Ethan and Henry told us that the short harvest cycles of AIVs accelerated their income generation. In addition, they more than doubled their seed production within the last year. But next to economics, also cultural changes were reported due to the introduction of AIVs in Western Kenyan regions.
After the project, 1 year after sensitizing farmers, after sensitizing people, the population, that these vegetables are very nutritious and they're good for their health. Right now, you can find those African indigenous vegetables in all of the hotels.
They were saying that more farmers, more people are going for it in terms of demand. So there is a high potential for income generation.
An hotel which does not have an African indigenous vegetable, customers don't go to that hotel.
We hope and we wish that we continue with them to gain this knowledge up to maximum.
Slowly but surely, this main target group of Hortinlea adopts the technologies proposed by the research teams. AIV farming is spreading, and so is the knowledge about it.
Our technologies has been taken up by the farmers. They were going to, actually they are able to share the information with other farmers.
To aid this knowledge exchange among farmers, Hortinlea had a handbook in store.
The handbook was a summary of some of the results we got, so that the farmers can actually use them when they go back home. So it's a summary of the results, the posters which were displayed.
As we have heard before in this film, a lot of work is still required at policy and economic levels. Jared Opiyo explained to us in great detail how, for instance, the bad infrastructure impedes using the full potential of AIV production. Nonetheless, an atmosphere of enlightened optimism surrounded this last meeting of Hortinlea.
Yesterday we took AIVs in a national institution like this, something that will never happened before. The fact that these AIVs are now found in supermarkets, high-end supermarkets and high-end restaurants, is a demonstration of how important they are being considered in our meal culture. And the fact that they are now being considered as healthy foods and everybody wants to live healthy, I think the future is bright and big for the vegetables.
This positive outlook demonstrates the potential of an unlikely synergy of farmers and scientists, of Kenyans, Tanzanians and Germans, of research and dialogue. Hortinlea is an example of how the involvement of all key stakeholders in a subject matter, paired with the transmission of scientific findings to practical applications, can make a real difference in the physical world. Considering the bigger picture was only a start. The era of African indigenous vegetables on cultivated lands, in supermarkets and on dining plates has only just begun.